I would like to welcome in the supermarket guru, Mr. Phil Lempert, to break this all down for us. Phil, thank you so much for your time. First of all, I think most Americans want to know the answer to the big question: how would a merger affect grocery prices nationwide?
Well, the question is, Nichole, whether or not we can believe Rodney McMullen, who's the CEO of Kroger, where he says that the prices will go down. He actually just a couple weeks ago said that they would reduce prices by $1 billion. However, keep in mind that the combination of these two represent $230 billion. So if in fact they reduce it by $1 billion, that's only about a half of a percent.
That is so much money. Okay, Phil. So we know that the vice president, Kamala Harris, has said if she is elected, she would crack down on grocery store price gouging. We know there's a bipartisan group of lawmakers who have signed a brief opposing this merger. So that is already a lot of backlash. How are the companies defending this merger, this potential merger?
Well, what they're saying is they need to merge in order to compete with Walmart, with Costco, and with Amazon. So what they're saying is it's pro competition. It's not anti-competition. But in fact, when the trial just started, when the hearing started about an hour or so ago, the workers' union said that they don't believe that it's about competition. They believe that it's about prices.
So I want to talk about that because, I was reading an article doing research for this, talk about how Amazon, how Costco, how Walmart, I mean, these are some of the largest grocery retailers in the country. How are they potentially impacting what happens with this merger?
Well, there's no question that Walmart, being the largest grocer, has the most buying power. So that's why you can go to Walmart and pay less than you can at Kroger or Albertsons. So it's a volume business. And keep in mind that, yes, profits have gone up slightly since the pandemic. They used to be about 1.5% net profit. Now they're up around 2% net profit. It's a razor-thin business. So that's why Kroger and Albertsons want to merge. What they've said is they're going to sell off about 579 stores to C&S Grocers. That's part of the hearing as well, because frankly, the FTC chair, Lynn Kahn, is saying that she doesn't think that C&S can really run 579 stores. So that's what they're trying to find out as well. But the competition is clearly there. There's no question about it. And the big question is what happens to you and I as consumers if this merger does go through? Are people going to lose their jobs? Well, Kroger said no. No one's going to lose their jobs. Kroger and Albertsons are unionized now. They're one of the few retailers who are. So, those jobs are going to be protected.
I want to talk to you about the workers because we're talking about both of these companies with more than 700,000 employees combined. Many of them are union workers. We know that the FTC claims that a combined company would actually have more leverage over the unions, taking away some of that employee power because they would no longer be able to play one company against the other as a negotiating tool. What would happen to those workers?
Well, what you're saying is exactly true. And also keep in mind, as you and I have talked about before, we've got the whole electronic shelf label situation that's taking place that could reduce labor as well. And we've got self-checkouts. So there's no question in my mind that while they can promise that nobody's going to lose their jobs are going to be reallocated. Now, what they have said is in the distribution part of it, people will lose their jobs. So in store, those people are pretty protected, but in the warehousing, in the office, there will be, a lot of duplication, and those people are going to lose their jobs.
And last question for you, and we know that promises certainly can be broken. Phil, what do you think ultimately happens here? Do you think this merger goes through?
I think it goes through under certain conditions. Number one is they're going to have to, put in writing to the FTC that prices are going to stay the same or lower. That's number one. Number two is they're going to have to get rid of more than 579 stores. So I think CNS takes 579 stores, and they probably have another 100 or 200 stores that they divest to other people than CNS to really make sure that there is competition. And if those two things happen, yes, I think the merger will go through.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.